Okay. Is higher consciousness a feeling? Mm, um, Most likely it's a good feeling. Well, there's issues with good feelings because a lot of people take drugs to make them feel better. Some people drink booze to make them feel better. So, I mean, if you had a double martini and you suck back some diazepam, is that going to bring you to higher consciousness? Most likely, it's going to make you pass out. So, just because you feel better doesn't mean it's higher consciousness. Is it possible that you have higher consciousness and you suffer physical pains? What? Yeah. 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 These are known as ascension symptoms. And if you are pursuing higher consciousness as a serious spiritual student, and I don't mean you're into woo woo new age stuff. What's woo woo new age? Oh, I'm going to buy some crystals and rocks, and I'm going to get some little tinkly chimes that, that go ding, 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 ding. And I'm going to get a bunch of essential oils. I'm going to go and what else do they might do? Uh, why do I carry crystals like this? Mostly because I have ascension symptoms. I have sore spots on my body. And what I'd like to do is take the sharp point of this thing and, find these sore spots, this muscular tension, and I push on them with this crystal because it's a big thing for my hand. Is this helping me towards higher consciousness? I won't say that it's not because our friend Sidhi the Shi and his advisor, Jacob B. Ing, say that crystals actually have consciousness to them. High or low consciousness? This one is very high consciousness. And how does it express itself? He just is. I guess he's a he because I just said he's a he. He just is. He just is. And higher consciousness is mostly about being, way less doing. So I was asked today, what about people who are really busy, so busy, 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 busy? Is that the way to inner peace? No. Slowing down is very important to getting to higher consciousness. Because what happens when you slow down is that you've got time to breathe and do conscious breathing. So you're sitting still and I can do this for an hour of not talking and just breathing and feeling what's going on in my body. And, it might be that nothing is too unusual, or I might feel weird feelings in my body. I might feel like a headache up here, or I might find there's some pains in here in different parts of my body. And what you're supposed to do, well, I get my crystal out, or I also use this golf tee. I carry this with me everywhere. And where I have sore spots, it's acupuncture. I'm not, pushing it right into the skin like the little metal things that they use for acupuncture, but acupressure. And I find the spots that are uncomfortable and I push on them with, this is an extended extra long golf tee for my hand, and I bring it with me everywhere because I have these ascension symptoms. So inner silence is it's how you know you've got to higher consciousness. In other words, if your inner voice has gone silent, you are, someone says congruent. That's an interesting way of putting it. Congruent with higher source connection. And if you are quiet, your own internal voice that is you, not some fake thing, but your own real voice, well, maybe it was a fake thing, but what used to be me doesn't talk anymore in my mind. I still hear other voices, but they're not mine. And I'm constantly telling them, inner silence, in other words, quiet yourself down. And some do, and some are very hard to convince to quiet themselves down. Does that mean I'm not contacting higher consciousness? They can interfere with my getting good information from higher consciousness. If inner voices are very loud and very noisy and just, banging pots and pans, then it's very disturbing. So basically what you want is quiet on the inside of your mind and quiet in the room that you're in, or, maybe you'd like to go out for a walk someplace away from the busy city. What are the things you need to do? You need to deal with your attitudes and beliefs, because we're brainwashed. Everyone on the planet is brainwashed by newspapers, social media, television, YouTube, Instagram, all these other things that have cropped up that the children are using. And it's very hard to get people away, and textbooks that they had from schools. There's so much stuff that you get crammed into your brain when you're a child, and then through your adulthood. How much of it is higher wisdom? Not very much. Not very much. So most of the stuff you've learned, you have to unlearn. Does coughing have anything to do with ascension symptoms? No. Let's see. But if you are finding that some of the things that are ascension symptoms are not necessarily anything to do with you getting to higher consciousness, it might be a lot to do with old traumas coming up. Old traumas, in other words, events when you were very, very unhappy and uncomfortable for various reasons. Maybe when you were a child, someone screamed at you and you were like, you were 3 and someone screamed at you and you're never been screamed at before like that. And it's like, and that trauma that you had when you were 3 is still in your consciousness, and it needs to be healed. But the attitudes that you carry towards other humans and the other beings on the planet, if you really feel like, for example, I just read this one this morning. Someone was saying, if you can't financially afford to support your children, well, tough titty for you. That is a horrible attitude, because those children, it's not their fault what happened to their family. If their parents fell on hard times, and now the children are suffering because, there's not enough money for them to pay for the rent or, to buy good food. When somebody says, that's just tough for you, that is a horribly evil attitude. And there's plenty of other attitudes that are just like this. The regular ones that we still see from time to time are racism and Well, these kind of things. But a lot of these things have to do with me first. I'm for me first, you know. And me first attitudes are very evil. Very evil. In other words, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder as high as I can get. I'm going to basically stomp on everybody else in order to get the next promotion. These are horrible attitudes because it is nothing to do with you being a soul. It is all about you having a nasty, nasty ego. So all of these kind of traits, and maybe you have mild cases of this from time to time because you just got hit with a huge car repair bill and a tax bill, and you're feeling the pinch. And you see a news report that says, well, immigrants are coming into the country. And you're saying, well, I don't want anyone else coming into the country. And you don't know what the story of the immigrant is or the refugee. You know, they might be fleeing a nightmare scenario, and they're looking for shelter from a nightmare scenario. So, you know, if you say automatically, I'm anti-immigration, I'm anti-refugee, that's a evil attitude. How about foreign aid? This is very tricky because a lot of foreign aid goes to foreign governments that are very corrupt, and the money doesn't get to the people. And a lot of these, you know, it's like, have you heard of the orphanage scam? The orphanage scam is where people from the neighborhood, children from the neighborhood, come to the orphanage when the tourists come by. So the orphanage can say, "Oh yeah, we're looking after these children," but they're not. They're just taking your money. There are. I would rather the money stay in your own country and look after the poor people in your own country, because there's so many corrupt foreign governments. I mean, our own governments are problematic enough, but for them to start writing checks, you know, of your hard-earned tax dollar and start giving the money to the foreign countries is wrong. And sometimes it's under the guise of like climate change. Oh, we have to help these other countries because of climate change. There's bullshit lies. Bullshit lies. It is just, it is, well, in my humble opinion, but, you know, I've been here long enough time to see the way these scams work, and these people that keep going on day after day that, you know, the sky is falling. What about the chemtrails? Yes, I've seen chemtrails. They're real. What can I do about them? I don't know. I wonder why it is that our governments allow these chemtrails to be sprayed. Where's the Air Force? Why aren't they shooting them down? Spraying all this shit in the air. So anyway, I'm getting off topic, but you know, what's my attitude about a lot of this? Well, my other attitude about immigrants is they bring in a lot of immigrants who will work at minimum wage jobs, and they're depressing the natural supply of labor and keeping wages low. This is it's done on purpose. Yes, it is also done on purpose. So some of the immigrants might really need a new home, and other ones are coming here and they are making a very hard time for other people who are already in the country. Is that their fault? It's not the immigrant's fault. Don't blame the immigrant for it. Blame the politicians who are doing this. Why are they doing it? Well, because there's great big chains of corporate stores that need people to work at very low wages. And, you know, if they can't get people to work for minimum wage, then they call up their politician and they say, I need more immigrants because I need somebody to come and work at my store. No one will work here. And then the politicians never investigate to see what's really going on. And they bring immigrants in, and they are distorting the labor pool in your country to keep wages down. Politicians, I think, I'm not going to vote. I've decided I'm not going to vote in this upcoming election in my country because I look at them all and they're all incompetent, and some of them are very, very corrupt. So I'm not going to vote. And what does that mean from the perspective of consciousness? It means I'm not giving my consent to be governed by incompetent and or corrupt people. How does that affect me? It raises my consciousness, believe it or not. If you decide that you don't like any of the candidates, don't vote for them. Some people say it's a democracy, it's your duty to vote. That's incorrect. That is like being a doormat. Doormatting is something where people get it from like some weird stories about Jesus in the Bible, where somebody comes up to you and asks for your hat, and you're supposed to give them your house and your children and your wife and all your bank accounts. That's incorrect. That makes you a victim in waiting for predatory behaviors. So no, don't do that. And it's really the same way. If you are, it's called giving your power away. It's giving your personal sovereignty away to someone who is unfit. In other words, if you had a business and you wouldn't hire this person because they're dodgy, if you wouldn't hire them for your business because you don't trust them, why would you go and use your vote and vote for them? Well, because one of them might be worse than the other. Don't do it that way. That is the oldest political ploy to get you to vote. And what does it happen to your vibration? Your vibration goes down. Your consciousness goes down because you have been a doormat on purpose, knowing that you don't like any of these things. I mean, in the United States, the George Bush and John Kerry both belong to the same secret society, Skull and Bones. Kerry was Democrat and Bush was Republican. So it was a fixed election. Either way, you were going to get Skull and Bones, a secret society of aristocrats who are going to be president. Why vote? Why consent to a scam? An unbelievable scam in supposedly the most free country in the world. It's not free. It is run by this group, and it has been. Why is it that all the presidents of the United States have been related to the British crown, the British king or queen? They have. You look at it up. It's because it's fixed. It's fixed. And, the sheeple, in other words, the people that don't ever figure it out, never do anything, some of them wake up eventually. But, this information is all available. And people, when you tell them, they just say, oh, you got a tin hat. You're a conspiracy theorist. It's black and white. It's black and white. And the Bush family, was convicted of trading with Nazi Germany in World War II. This is a family that has been very bad news. And they're two presidents of the United States. I'm sorry, if you're American, you've been had. And so it doesn't matter if it's a Republican or a Democrat. Donald Trump was supposed to drain the swamp. I don't see no drainage. You've just got a lunatic who has got more lies. The press say he lies more than any other president ever. So you've got a scumbag as president again. So why vote for one of these people? You are brainwashed to believe USA, USA, USA. Sorry. It's time for you to do some research. Put it on your tin hat and maybe an orange safety vest while you go digging. And maybe you need about 10 boxes of Kleenex because you're going to start crying when you start seeing the real history of what's been going on the planet. Chemtrails. Why do these governments allow chemtrails? They condone it. They condone chemtrailing. What else do they condone? No taxes on filthy rich corporations and heavy taxes on you. Who do they work for? Wealthy industrialists, military industrial complex, and banks. Wall Street. They work for the rich because they are bought and paid for by the rich. Corruption, corruption, corruption. Time to wake up. And for higher consciousness, don't give your power away to these people. It's time to speak out. I'm Harry Weaver.